welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and this is Life from Ashes, and today we have some fall crafts to make. We have two fabric pumpkins to make, and one will be made out of sweater material, and when it's done it will look like this. Very, very nice. I'm just going to go ahead and zoom in on this. Okay. And the second one will be a foam pumpkin. This is a pumpkin that I've had for years. It became pretty rough looking, and so I didn't want to throw it out. It's still usable, so I thought I would do a quick rejuvenation of this little pumpkin, which I find totally cute. This is what it ended up looking like. It's really, really adorable. A perfect way to refinish an old pumpkin. So let's go. All right, so here I will be using this fabric. It's an old shirt that I have. It's way too short on my tummy, so what I've done is removed the string here in case I need it for something else eventually. And I won't be using this big part of the fabric. We're just going to be using part of the sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out that part of the sleeve. I won't be using the part of the sleeve here with this frilly part. I simply don't need that for this project. So just the arm, and we will go ahead and clip that away. All right, so now that we've got that cut, we're gonna go ahead and get our pumpkin. This isn't a whole pumpkin I've had. It got some burn on it last year from being too close to a glass candle holder, and when my son was 1.5, he tried to take a bite out of this. So I've had it for this many years. My son is now 10, so we're gonna use this. Everything is loose on it. We're just gonna make sure we put a hole in the bottom. You just need something that will fit in that spot to make a hole. I'm just going to be using the end of a nail polish bottle I have on hand just because it's the perfect size. So we're going to make that hole, and we want to make sure that the hole is big enough to stuff the fabric into the bottom and the top part, because I don't have a hollow foam pumpkin. If you have a hollow foam pumpkin, then that works better, but if you don't, this is just fine. So we're just going to put this material on it. These are just some of the items you will be needing: some glue, twine or jute, needle, anything you want to embellish the pumpkin with. I just pulled out a bunch of stuff, so I have whatever I need on hand as I make this pumpkin. This is the first time I do these pumpkins. I didn't do any trial pumpkins beforehand. I wanted to do this with you, so here we go. So basically, we're just going to put the pumpkin inside this piece of sleeve and make sure that we have enough on each end to be able to tuck into the holes at the base of the pumpkin itself. Make sure the holes are good enough. I'm just going to shape the hole a little bit so it has more of a groove going down. We want that pumpkin shape. This pumpkin is so old, I mean, it's not really made with a whole lot of shape to begin with, so we're going to turn this into something beautiful. Let's trim off a little piece here, and we're going to just glue and tuck in the ends of this fabric. So basically, you just keep tucking and gluing your fabric in. You want to make sure that whatever pattern you're using, it stays straight at the sides of the pumpkin. You don't want your flowers or your lines or whatever it is you have to be all crooked and misshapen. Like your plaid should be straight if you're using plaid and whatnot. I'm just going to put a little extra glue here and just tuck this little piece just to give it that shape, and it should be good to go. There. Now you're simply going to do the exact same thing to the other side. And we're going to just glue and tuck the whole time. Alright, this is pretty simple. I mean, it's got to be the easiest craft I've ever done. I didn't think it was actually going to be this easy, but it is, so it's awesome. And we're just going to make sure everything is lined up straight, and we're going to have a quick tuck, and that's it. Okay, and now we're going to find what we'd like to use to embellish it, and I'm going to use one of these leaves, I think, right here. So I'm just going to snip off the end of this plastic piece here. And we're going to glue it into place. Alright, so I'm going to take the stem now that came with this pumpkin. You can use any other stem you'd want to, or whatever you'd like to use for your stem. I'm just going to put this one right back in because it's still sort of decent. And I'm going to find the hole and put it right back in there. So that worked really good. Position it the way you want it, and it is perfect. And we're going to continue embellishing here. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a piece of this wired burlap and gold ribbon, and I'm just going to cut it a little skinnier since this isn't a huge pumpkin. I'm going to make sure that the ribbon fits it properly, and I'm just going to give it a quick little twist here and snip in the end. And we're going to go ahead and just glue this into place. So basically what I'm using here is just a few pieces of hay that I grabbed from my yard out of the bale. You can get this at a craft store if you don't have any on hand, but I happen to have some here on hand, so that is what I'm using here. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that. This is a country home, and I want that rustic feel, and I'm going to finish off this little corner with a little tiny pine cone off of our pine tree outside. Alrighty, so that is how that will look. I'm done embellishing, but I think I'm going to add some gold here. I'm just going to simply use some of this Essie chunky gold flaky nail polish just for a little bit of shine and glam. My house isn't super glam or anything by any means, but I do like a little bit of sparkle whenever I'm looking at my decorations, especially Christmas time. I love it when lights are on and everything is sparkling. You can't be in a bad mood when things are twinkling, if you know what I mean. Alright, so that's it. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I think it looks beautiful, it's still country looking, and it's good for now another 10 years. So I'm happy. I hope you guys try this one. Now we can start working on our sweater pumpkin. Stay tuned for that right now. Alright, for sweater pumpkin, we are going to be using an old knit sweater. It was given to me. I can't wear it anymore because there's a hole in the armpit and all these little metal rings touch my skin, and I have an allergy to cheap metals, and so it just keeps burning me. So I found a better use for it, and we're going to make a pumpkin. So first thing we're going to use, again, it's just going to be a part of the sleeve. Because there's metal rings on this sleeve, I'm not going to be using the bottom part for this project, but I will be saving all of the fabric from these materials. So simply cut this section of sleeve off your shirt. So basically all I've done is fold this piece in half, and I am cutting off the area without the metal pieces, and I'm going to be using this to make the pumpkin. So we're going to fold this inside out, and we're going to take the smaller end, not that I think it really matters, but we're going to take the smaller end and put it down. We're going to tie some jute or twine around the bottom piece. We're just going to bunch it up, and we're going to tie it and knot it up so that we have the bottom of our pumpkin. And once you have that done, we're just going to snip off the ends after you've knotted it, and it's got to be nice and tight, and we're just going to flip it back right, which gives you the bottom of your pumpkin. And now you have a little area that you get to fill. And I already have a bag of stuffing from another job I did from an old pillow that I've saved that I just like to use to fill up things with. It just looks like this. And we're just going to simply stuff the pumpkin to the size and shape that you're happy with. You want a taller pumpkin, you could make one taller. If you want it fatter, you can certainly make one fatter. It's really up to you. So stuff this, you want to get it nice and round. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my twine again, and I'm just going to snip a piece off so that I can tie this firmly to the top, closing off most of the pumpkin. I'm going to tie this extremely tight because it is sweater material. It shouldn't have a problem getting my stem in there. I'm going to trim this down, and it's all going to get tucked in, and you won't see any of this when we're done anyway. So you go ahead and tie that off, and we can move to our next step. So now you can go ahead and trim off the excess. I will be leaving a little bit at the top that will end up getting carefully stitched down, not sewing, but we're just going to be using a darning needle here with the twine, and this will all get stuck down. So you won't even see it when we're done. It's just there. So you can go ahead and take the jute, and you're going to take a nice long piece and snip that off. And I'm going to just take my plastic darning needle. You can use a metal needle if you want to, a big one. It's however you want. We're going to be using this to go around the pumpkin. So you're going to thread your needle, and you're going to knot the other end of your thread. A good 3 knots should do it, just to stop it from coming through the bottom of your pumpkin when you start your stitching. Okay, so flip your pumpkin over, and you're going to start by poking your needle through the sweater fabric all the way to the top. Don't drop your thread, and pull it until you feel it. Now hold it in tightly like a donut and start by making your first rib around. Now I'm going to pull this tightly and stick the needle back through the bottom, pulling it through the top, making my first rib of pumpkin. And you're going to continue this all the way around into quarters. Okay, so now you can see I've got 2 here. You just keep pulling tight through and wrapping to your next where you'd like the bump to be. I'm kind of going to start by doing it in 4, and then if I want to add, I will just wrap another wrap wherever I see fit. So it's really just your style and your eye, but you're just separating it and giving it a good pull. It will stay tight as soon as you tighten it, so don't let go and really hold it and control where your string is going. It's not complicated, it's not hard, it's actually really easy. This is a craft you can do with your children, or with an elderly person, or just with a friend for fun. Alright, so now that I've got my pumpkin pretty much where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and just keep on pulling through. As you can see, now that I've gone through the center so many times, you don't even see where the pumpkin started. Like, this is the bottom. I'm going to tie it off now. I'm going to put a couple knots in here, and then I'm just going to run the twine back into the pumpkin, and I'm going to snip it from the top so that we don't have any tails sticking out. It'll disappear. Now when you pull your tail through, make sure you press down your pumpkin slightly, that way the end disappears. So this is the base, and this is the top of your pumpkin. As you can see, you don't really see any of the separation or anything. Like, everything looks perfect. It's just a perfect shaped pumpkin. It is awesome. Now I've got these metal wire pieces covered in paper from an old Christmas decoration I tore apart last year for some crafting, and I kept the wire because why not? We are crafters after all. And I will simply just be putting my finger around this to twist it and give it that viney look, and we're just going to embellish this as we go. I will also be using a piece of this to make the stem. So for the stem, we're just going to take a piece like this, about 6 inches or something, close to that, and we're going to fold it in half, giving us about 2.5 inches of length, and we are going to simply make sure that there's a big enough hole here. If you need to, just poke through with a pair of scissors, and we are going to glue this into place. Now you can go ahead and take your jute. We're going to be wrapping this all the way around to make our stem. You don't have to, you can literally use it the way it is and leave it with the loop. If you want to hang this pumpkin or make several, but I am putting this on my table, so I will be making my stem really nice. I'm going to be simply using the jute to go around and around, go tightly, and just glue a little bit as you go. Be careful, glue is hot. So now that you've gotten almost to the top, we're just going to carefully move our way up and keep coiling it around the stem of your pumpkin tightly. And then at the end, we're just going to trim off. My piece is a little too short, but this is a piece I had left over, so I wanted to use it up before using a new piece. And then I'll just finish off the end by twisting it all onto the top together. Perfect. So that is how the stem is made. That couldn't have turned out any more perfect than it is right now. A little bit of glue on my fingers, but that's not so bad. It looks awesome. Now we can embellish away. So we can go ahead and add our little twirly stem that we've put in and continue on from here. I'm also going to be adding this brilliant orange leaf. We're just going to snip the little plastic piece off, add some glue. I think it looks just darling in there. The orange really makes that sweater pop. Yeah, we're going to do this nice gold leaf. Let's try, yeah, like this. Isn't that something? It's going to be beautiful when it's done. Alrighty, and so now I'm just going to do like I did with the other. I'm going to use a little piece of this gold and burlap wired ribbon, which I got at Michael's, just so you know. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this into place. Okay, so now I'm going to take my pine cone here that I got out of the yard, and I'm going to add glue all around the base of this and finish this off with a beautiful little pine cone right here at the stem. Isn't that perfect, guys? Look at this. And you are finished. Look how gorgeous this turned out. I mean, 10 minutes of pumpkin maybe, and they are beautiful. Anybody can do this, guys. Look at these. Aren't they gorgeous? I certainly hope you guys try this out and give this a like and share this with somebody you know is crafty and would love to do this as well. Okay, everyone, so that's it for today. I thank you so much for joining me. I totally had fun doing these crafts. I so love to craft. If you like crafting, I have lots coming up also for the holiday season. I like to do a craft show, so I do a lot of crafts and other fun things. So if you're up for that, please subscribe below. Don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified as soon as I put something out for you. And I just thank you and I bless you and I thank you for joining me. All right, everyone, take care. Bye for now.